We are back. What is the crack? People, welcome to Brandon Talks Fighting. It's been a little while. I haven't done a podcast episode since before Christmas. There was no UFC on. There was no fights happening. I did actually record something last week, which the audio messed up on, so I never get a chance to put it out. It was my predictions for this year. There's loads of MMA channels and podcasts have been doing it, so I never get a chance to re-record it, and I thought, just go and watch theirs because my predictions are probably going to be something similar. So I thought I would wait until this week. We'll start off the new year with a bang. We are going to be bringing podcasts every Monday from now on. I feel like I always say that, but I did have a little break there over Christmas, a bit longer than what I wanted to. But there wasn't much happening. There wasn't too much to talk about, to be fair. And I didn't just want to make podcasts for the sake of doing it. So we're back with a bang now. We're going to hit the ground running. It's a new era. It's a new dawn. Paramount Plus is the new host for the UFC in the US of A. Now, just going to get something off my chest straight off the bat here. We have to pay here in the UK. We have to pay for Saturday night's fight. We have to pay pay-per-view prices. It's going to be £25 to buy the pay-per-view, even though in America they're getting it as part of a Paramount Plus subscription. We are paying more than the Yanks for the UFC. I know it's only for this weekend, but that is ridiculous if you ask me. It's going to be 5 o'clock in the morning for us by the time Paddy Pimblett is walking out to the cage, and we have to pay £25, even though the Americans are getting it as part of an $8.99 subscription. I'm going to complain about this every time we have to pay for a pay-per-view and the Americans don't. It's alright if it's in Abu Dhabi or if it's on UK time zone, but paying for it when it's in Vegas, that is ridiculous. Bad move by TNT in my opinion, but I suppose they have to make their money somehow. Now, that's that off my chest. UFC 324 goes down this weekend. The first fight of 2026 will happen this weekend. I cannot wait. It's been a long 6 weeks, guys. It's been a very long 6 weeks. I feel like I haven't podcasted in ages, so looking forward to getting back at it and talking about some fights with you all. Now, as always, I'm going to give all of the channels a plug. Make sure and follow Brandon Talks Fighting on Instagram and Facebook, because I've actually been doing quite a lot of work over the festive period. I wasn't slacking off completely. I was quite busy making graphics and changing Brandon Talks Fighting's Instagram page, or the Instagram page, on into like a MMA news / update site. So it's no longer just going to be clips of me speaking. I'm still going to put podcast clips and everything else up, but there's going to be a lot of MMA news on it, some cool graphics. I'm going to be trying to post 2 or 3 times a day on that, just reacting to the latest news, and you will be able to use that as a source for the latest MMA gossip and the goings-ons within the MMA world. So make sure and go and check that out. Please give me a follow. It is much appreciated. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I think we're at 670, 650 or something like that there. So big push on to get the 1,000 over the next couple of months. We're going to grow this outlet, this podcast, this channel. I want to grow it all the way to the top, and you guys are on here from the start. So thank you very much to you all that is listening to Brandon Talks Fighting. Now, UFC 324, of course, Paddy the Baddy Pimblett takes on Justin Gaethje in the main event. If you listen to this podcast, you know by now when there's a Scouse fighter fighting in the UFC, I always get my good friend MMASideKick in to help me break it down. He is as close to the Liverpool MMA scene as anyone I know, so I'm going to bring him in here. He's in the wings waiting. Sidekick, what is happening, mate? It's good to see you again. Happy New Year. How is the New Year treating you so far?
Happy New Year to yourself as well. It's been a good New Year. It's been in new chapters, new starts and stuff like that, man. Yeah. What about yourself? Been a good New Year?
Yeah, it's all good. Back on the podcast grind now. This is the first one I've done of the year, so getting back at it. Looking forward to some fights this weekend. Just before we get into it, give your podcast a shout out there, because you and the lads are doing a great job doing the fan quizzes and everything else. So give us a plug.
You come on yourself, didn't you?
I come on myself. It didn't go too well.
Yeah. So the 4 Ounce podcast. We're doing. I'd say it's probably one of the hardest quizzes on YouTube to do. To be fair. It's a great concept. I think we've got it, especially with the KO counter. It makes things a lot interesting. You know what I mean? Because it puts pressure on you, because you're going up against someone else. So I don't see many people who are actually doing head-to-head quizzes like we are at the moment. So I say big things to come this year. And we've just been talking about something, maybe about walking to UFC London if not cycling. But yeah, that's something for down the pipeline.
That would be absolutely mental if you decided to do that. Good content though, good content all the same,
Yeah.
and I'm sure it would do very, very well. Something like that. But the quizzes, you are smashing it with the quizzes. I went on,
Yeah.
and of course, Silk Pajamas. If you don't know what that is, go and check that out too. I'd say it's one of the best MMA fantasy pick games out there. Go and check it out. Silk Pajamas, as it's called, is really, really, really good. But the guy from Silk Pajamas beat me in the 4-ounce podcast quiz show, so it didn't go too well. But great crack all the same. Now, this weekend, the Scousers are back. I always rely on you for Scouse MMA. Paddy the Baddy Pimblett is, he's having the biggest fight of his life. He's, of course, on a 9-fight win streak. He's coming off back-to-back performance of the night bonuses. It's kind of funny watching Paddy's career, especially since the Gerard Gordon fight, because, he went Tony Ferguson, stepped up a level. The first 2 rounds of that, I was saying that's the best 10 minutes we've seen Paddy have in a UFC octagon. The last 5 minutes he did gas out a wee bit, but the first 10 minutes was the best of his UFC career so far. He then, in Manchester, you and I was both there, he subs Bobby Green, Bobby King Green, wherever you want to call him. Fabulous performance. There was people doubting him in that one as well. A lot of people doubting him. He's been doubted at every stage, and even Michael Chandler. That was his best performance to date against Michael Chandler, an absolute domination against him.
Unbelievable.
He looked absolutely incredible. Something I will say, so he was doubted in every single one of them fights. This time, have you seen a bit of a shift? I feel I'm seeing a bit of a shift in the media where people are actually backing Paddy a little bit more. The people that I'm speaking to definitely are the friends that I have that watch the fights. They're definitely backing him more. They definitely fancy him more to beat Gaethje than what they have Tony Ferguson, Bobby Green, or Michael Chandler for that fact. And I think online's telling me the same. Are you kind of feeling this as well?
I do. I believe. I believe you're correct. Like it's the first time the shift has turned and Paddy's now the favourite. You're looking on Tapology and everyone's backing Paddy. I think it's something like 60% or 70% of backing Paddy on Tapology. But it's the first time. Well, I've been a doubter. I don't know about yourself, Brandon. Have you been a doubter through it? Especially after like we're talking about the Jared Gordon fight. Did you think he beat Gordon?
I don't think so. I think he lost.
I don't think so.
Don't get me wrong, there was people crying robbery. I don't think it was a robbery. I think it was a close fight. It was a lot closer than what people were saying, but I gave it 2 rounds. They won the Jared Gordon. But there was a lot of inactivity in that fight as well.
That's the only thing that makes us a lot of us doubters, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Them types of performances where you're like, like he's set for stardom. But as I say, this is probably the first fight I think a lot of people shouldn't be. I think a lot of people should be maybe doubters because if you look at records and who they fought, Brand, there's the night and day. Literally the night and day. Like even by who Justin's been beat by, like the like okay, Rafael Vaziev, is he better than Michael Chandler? I believe he is.
Yeah, definitely.
I believe he is. Dustin Poirier, 1,000,000% is better because are we going to agree that Michael Chandler is Paddy's best win?
Yeah. I think so, but I think Bobby Green
on the eye and on paper, I think he's the best fighter.
Yeah.
Again, Rafael Vaziev. Okay, he lost to Charles Oliveira. We're going to talk. I want to talk about that in a second as well. He had a war with Michael Chandler, which is I want to talk about. So Charles Oliveira, I want to look at, and Michael Chandler, I want to look at in a little bit. Khabib, obviously, everyone loses to, and then he changed Tony Ferguson. He's the person who made Tony Ferguson go on that long ass run of losses to the point where that's the Tony Ferguson that Paddy ended up sending him off to the UFC with. You know what I mean? So there was a completely different Tony Ferguson that Paddy fought to just what Justin Gaethje fought. So resume wise, we should be looking at Justin Gaethje like he's the favourite. He's been around for longer.
What do you think it is that's changed? Is it Paddy's performance against Michael Chandler was so damn good that the doubters turned to believers, or is it Justin Gaethje as an opponent? Because people are writing Justin Gaethje off, and it's absolutely mental because you've just listed the opponents that he's beat. That one against Rafael Fiziev, like they beat a striker in Fiziev on the feet and the way that he done it. That's that's a fighter that's still got it. He's maybe not in his prime, but he's definitely still got it. So what do you think the reason for the shift in momentum and people actually backing Paddy this time is? Is it a fault in Justin, or is it just that Paddy's performance looks so good against Michael Chandler?
I think you hit the nail on the head perfectly, brother. I think it's a lot of the fans think he is the least deserving out of a lot of them. I think out of it, I think a lot of people in their brains have got Arman should be the person who's fighting for this title. Do you know what I mean? And that's where it is, where it's like, I think it's a little bit like his training partner, you know, Kamara. Like, they cry until they get the title, and people don't like when you start crying and going, I deserve this title. But Justin Gaethje does deserve the title shot. You know, I'm not gonna. Max Holloway can't fight for the title shot right now because Ilia Topuria knocked him out. Charles Oliveira, he can't fight for the title because Ilia Topuria just knocked him out. You got to look around and who hasn't Ilia Topuria knocked out. Yeah. And then you're looking at Arman, Paddy, and Justin Gaethje. I personally wanted Arman Tsarukyan to be in this fight. I don't know what you think about Brandon.
I think, to be honest with you, based on meritocracy, 110%, but I think he's also... I think if he didn't headbutt Dan Hooker, we're looking at a whole different situation, because first of all, there's the UFC 300 controversy where he's walking out, he punches a fan, he gets suspended. It was either 6 or 9 months, had to do a public statement or something like this. You know, that's one issue. You can, you know, you try and learn from that, but then he clearly didn't learn from it, because he then pulls out of the fight literally the day before against Islam Makhachev. Moicano steps in. We know how that played out. That was a main event that, you know, people were travelling over to, people were excited to see, people had paid hotels, you know, tickets were bought, and, you know, he did let the UFC down. So looking at it as a business, that's twice he let them down. Given, you know, he does beat Dan Hooker then, or no, sorry, he turned the fight down against Mateus Gamrot as well, which is what Paddy keeps bringing up. You know, he should have at that stage had to fight his way back, in my opinion. Yes, he got a very good win, a very, very dominant win against Dan Hooker, but he put the head on him. That could have very easily put that fight off. That isn't someone that's learned. That isn't someone that you can trust in these huge moments. Arman Tsarukyan, if it was him fighting Paddy for this interim title, or if it was Arman Tsarukyan fighting Ilia Topuria, both of them fights are going to be two of the biggest fights in 2026, bar the White House card. Yeah. You know, you'll struggle to find bigger names meeting each other for a title. So can he trust them in that position?
It's a great question. That's the only problem with the UFC. I've got that question in the head where, like, can we trust him? But as I say, I think he is the rightful, you know, as we say, he was meant to fight for the title against Islam. And then since Islam, it's been given to a featherweight who's moved up. And then the featherweight who's moved up sort of got off, and just for a while, he'll be back soon. But we've got to switch into the title again, and he's not even in the picture for any of them. Like, and it just makes you think, like, obviously it's his own doing, but yeah, I think I love Armand. That's the thing. But
he's on a generational run with the streams and everything, you know, at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's going to help him. I think that's what he wants to do. I think he wants to start getting himself out there, because once you start looking at his Instagram, oh my God, you're going to look at something, you're going to go, yeah, he's the boy. He's the sickest guy ever. Like, look at him, he's got the driving around £1 million cars, 10 burgers around him. He's living the life, bro. I literally aspired to be like Arman Tsarukyan one day. Right, but looking back at the Justin Gaethje and Paddy fight, you know, Paddy 31 years of age, Justin Gaethje 37 years of age, Justin Gaethje. This is probably another reason why people are leaning more towards Paddy, because once you start touching that 37, 38 range, yeah, the betting favourites go towards the other guy, 100%. Records, you know, 23-3 for Paddy. 26-5 for Justin Gaethje, but the caliber, I say, with Justin Gaethje's been fighting compared to Paddy, sort of night and day.
Yeah, it's so different, isn't it? It is really like night and day. Do you think we've seen the best of Paddy yet?
It's an interesting question. I want to say no. Because I feel like he could really improve his strike. You know, we're starting to see improvements in his striking. You know, his grappling is top tier, which is something I want to touch on as well, because his statistics say he is. But yeah, I think I think once he starts improving his striking, which obviously we were talking about Luke Riley before in another podcast, I think, once they start working together a lot more, I think Paddy will be. Then once he gets his striking, he'll be the ultimate guy, like Charles Oliveira was.
We've seen massive improvements in his striking already. It's not that he stopped it fully, but he seems to keep his chin a little bit more tucked. You can actually see him consciously sort of saying to himself mid-fight sometimes, like you can see him tucking the chin in and doing it very purposeful. So that's obviously something that he's working on. His kicking game.
And his stance as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
His stance is very, it looks very maybe funny, you'd say, for MMA. You don't really see much of it, but it's actually a Muay Thai stance. It's very... he has himself, I guess, like a very much like a Muay Thai stance. He keeps his foot forward as he's fighting. So I think his striking is getting better, a lot better, and it's something that I want to touch on.
And it's quite interesting because both of these fighters are kind of like, when you're talking about their strike, and one of Paddy's best weapons is his kicks. Justin Gaethje is someone that throughout the start of his UFC career was known for his leg kicks. But they both get very different stances. You're talking about Paddy, his very Muay Thai kind of stance, whereas Justin Gaethje, he's very tight. He stands very upright. And to be honest, I think coming into this, I was thinking whoever gets their kicking game going first will be in a really good spot. They win this fight. But then I was also watching Justin Gaethje's last fight against Rafael Fiziev, and he nearly punished him for throwing low kicks at times. And sometimes Justin Gaethje was throwing the low kick, and Fiziev was nearly able to create a scramble out of it. So who do you think does have the better kicking game, or who do you think will be able to weaponize it more?
To be fair, I feel like Justin Gaethje's... Paddy's actually said this as well on like some interview or something he'd done recently. It might have been the Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall released something yesterday and I watched it. I think that Justin Gaethje's throwing a lot less leg kicks since, I think it might be the Chandler fight. After the Chandler fight, I think he started throwing a lot less kicks. The calf kicks anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There's something I find very interesting, brother. Right. If you watch the Michael Chandler fight with Justin Gaethje, right, when they're exchanging, Justin Gaethje does something which triggers a lot of alarms in my head, and it's something that next gen will definitely 100% be watching and thinking, okay, we can get this, So when Justin Gaethje's exchanging, when he dips his head, he sort of like does a whole body down sort of thing. So it's like he full crouches his body. And if you watch Michael Chandler versus Paddy fight, Paddy knocks him down with a flying knee. Yeah, this is something that Paddy could be looking at going, okay, this is one of my predictions, Brand. Yeah, I'm seeing Paddy taking a shot, Justin Gaethje ducking down, Paddy coming up with a flying knee. I can see it all day. One thing that does worry me a bit is Charles Oliveira. If you look at the Charles Oliveira fight, brother, Charles Oliveira gets knocked down 3 times in that first round. I believe it, maybe 2, 3 rounds. Definitely 2. I think it may be 3 in the first round, and that's something that worries me a lot because I compare Paddy to Charles with the grappling, and I think that's worrying, very, very worrying for me.
I think that's a good comparison between Oliveira and Paddy. They're both very long and rangy, and both, their grappling is their strong side. They're both very comfortable off their back. Will both rear neck choke you within seconds. So that is a bit worrying. It is. The only sort of positive I would take is, or the question I would ask is it the same version of Justin Gaethje? He's been in a lot of wars. There's a hell of a lot of miles on that clock. Not quite as active as what he used to be. I think there could be a good chance that he's starting to slow down slightly. But then you look at the Fiziev performance and you're like, that doesn't seem like a guy that's slowing down. But I just feel like he sat out for quite long. Which, at his age, as you say, once you hit that 37, 38 age range, you're coming into the back end of your career, and it becomes very, very difficult to make real stamps against these up and coming contenders. In terms of grappling, then, what what way are you seeing it? Of course, if Paddy gets the back, I say it's night. I think it's game over.
Yeah.
Can you see Paddy Paddy doesn't shoot for traditional takedowns. He's more likely to back you against the cage and try and get an inside trip or try and get some kind of trip off or get
even from
you...
a knockdown. Because
yeah.
Especially from what I'm seeing statistics. So, like, I've got just the stats up off the UFC website, and Paddy actually has less than one takedown per minute on average in the UFC, which is telling me that basically his submissions coming from mainly knockdowns. Yeah. Another one which tells me I like this statistic a lot, because a lot of fighters like Charles Oliveira have a high submission attempt per 15 minutes in the UFC. They actually have a high, which means you don't actually finish the submission attempt. You just get in the submission attempt, not getting it, and then going for another one. Paddy has a 1.6, so which is telling me that if he doesn't get the first one, well, he's definitely going to get the second one. Yeah, so that is the danger zone. Obviously, we already know that Paddy is an elite grappler. But there's another thing that's very interesting for me, is Justin Gaethje. So if Paddy does want to start, getting in the danger zone with the striking, and Paddy does want to try and take him down, well, Justin Gaethje has a 68% takedown defense. Yeah, which is quite high, I believe. Yeah. Whereas Paddy has a 50% takedown defense. I don't see Justin Gaethje shooting for any takedowns at all. But as I say, Paddy, if Paddy's shooting for less than, having a success of less than one takedown per 15 minutes, well, I can't really see him taking him down. I feel like that being maybe a problem for Paddy trying to get him down, because we know where Justin Gaethje's strong point is the striking, don't we? Yeah. He wants to get inside and he wants to test that chin.
Solid wrestler too, but
yeah, high level wrestler. He just doesn't use it. He's like his body anti-wrestles. Have you ever seen the clip where he literally gets in the clinch and he could get a takedown, and his body just goes boink and throws himself backwards?
He just wants to stand and trade instead, doesn't he?
He just wants to stand and trade.
You know, fair fucks to him. It's entertaining to watch. He's called the highlight reel for a reason. But I 100% agree. I don't see Paddy landing a takedown as such, but I do think he might be able to back him against cage. We've seen lots of moments in the Michael Chandler fight where Paddy has Chandler up against the cage. He ends up flattening Chandler out. He's landing some heavy elbows from the top, some vicious ground and pound. I can see opportunities like that opening up and Paddy maybe getting a rear naked choke via, ground and pound and then transition to a rear naked choke. I don't think he'll get, as you're saying, he's not the type to just shoot for a traditional takedown, is he?
This is where I think this is why it's the hardest fight to predict for Paddy. If you're gonna back Paddy, the method of victory is so hard. He's got a 30% knockout rate. He's got a 43% submission rate, and he's got a 26% decision rate. Trying to pick a way of winning in this fight for Paddy is so hard, but that would be, for me, it would be his way of getting against the fence, taking him down, trying to get the back. It would be it's the route in it. That's the smartest game plan would be that. Really would be. But as I say, trying to get Justin Gaethje down is a lot harder than we talk. That we speak. Like, one thing I do find interesting. I do like me statistics sometimes, Brand. Yeah, and there's a statistic I do like, and this shows me that Paddy's more of a more hunter of the finisher. Paddy's average fight time is 8 minutes and 56 seconds, compared to Justin Gaethje's, which is 11 minutes and 14, which shows me that Justin Gaethje's more of a fighter that, because obviously the statistics are 77% knockout KOs, so basically he finishes more people. It shows me that he's more of a break them down, chop down the tree, break them down, and I just want to know if Paddy can take that for 25 minutes. If it does go past that. Paddy's saying round 3. But this is saying to me, if you last in 11 minutes, but you could be in a danger zone. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I'm just thinking there as we're talking about that. This is Paddy's first time going 5 rounds in the UFC. Is that correct?
I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. Whereas this is Justin Gaethje's 3rd title fight, isn't it? Or 4th title fight. Yeah. Might it be? I think it's 3rd.
Yeah, the experience is huge. Something that Next Gen is unbelievable at. You've seen they picked the perfect game plan against Michael Chandler. You see it with the likes of Luke Riley and all the guys coming through. Game planning is something that sets them aside from the rest of the gyms in the UK. And in my opinion, it's very individualised. It's very specific based on the opponent. Do you think that's something here that, like Paddy and the guys at Next Gen, they've definitely been sitting for months and picking up wee things like that duck that you say that Justin Gaethje does and Paddy throws a knee up the middle? Do you see this somewhere that Paddy can really benefit from?
100%. But and if it was me, I would be saying, look, every time he exchanges, he does it against you watch him when Max punches the ground and they're exchanging, and Max throws to the body, and just literally, it's like you watch his whole body crouches over like this, and it's perfect. If Paddy comes in for exchange, throws a shot, and then as he throws a shot, come up with a flying knee, mate, he's cracking that. Honestly,
I can see it, mate. I can see it.
I really, really can see it happening, and it would be amazing because it would be the first Paramount card. The Scouser headlining it, yeah. And then it sets up, either way though, Brand, it sets up, whoever wins, it sets up literally a historical or fairy tale ending. We get Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett. We've been dreaming about it for years now, yeah. Or you get Justin Gaethje, White House card. He gets to fly off in the sunset. Yeah. Literally, if he fights Ilia Topuria, we'll be flying off in the sunset. It
is magical what way this could go, and especially now that Ilia Topuria has seen, there was a comment that he made on X. He says he'll be ready to fight. Was it April, May? He says,
yeah.
At that, you would think they'll hold him off for the White House card in June. If Paddy, imagine what that does for UK MMA. Paddy Pimblett, someone from your city of Liverpool. Liverpool's not a big city; it's a very close knit city. He's one of your own, and he's fighting, could possibly headline the White House card if he wins this fight against Justin Gaethje. It's like that's truly what's at stake here.
Like, you don't understand how much I want him to win. Like, I've got a glove there signed, right? A gold glove signed by Paddy Pimblett to the sidekick. Yeah, if he becomes champion, I'd be buzzing. You know what I mean? It's a gold glove. Obviously, don't use the gold gloves anymore. But I would be so happy. But I just sometimes, Brand, this realistically in me, and I'm like, hang on, this is his hardest fight. He's never fought someone who thrives in chaos so much like Justin Gaethje.
And Paddy is chaos.
And Paddy is chaos. And he's ever fought someone who can crack like Justin Gaethje? This is the thing. It's all these questions where I'm like, and you start going, who else is another Scouser who got pushed so quick into a title fight?
Darren Till.
And what happened to Darren Till?
Yeah, it does make you worry, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. It's like little things like this which just start making you go, I just hope things don't repeat themselves. And I hope that Paddy will get a flying knee. If not finishing with the flying knee, get the rear naked choke. And then dun.
Oh, but imagine the scenes.
Just watch the Charles Oliveira fight, and there's a possibility where Justin Gaethje cracks that chin. There's a possibility. There really is. I'm just gonna. That's where that. If you're gonna be predictions, that's where my predictions are. And I'm so torn. It's either Paddy's gonna fly knee him and get a submission or a knockout through that way, or Justin Gaethje.
To finish off
within 2 rounds, bro.
To finish off, always ask you for your predictions on these fights. I'll go first, and I'll give you some thinking time there because I need you to nail one down for me here, Sidekick. We don't do this sitting on the fence shit here. I'm going Paddy round 3, rear naked choke. I think this is going to be, potential fight of the year in the very first card. I think, as we just said, it's chaos. Justin Gaethje thrives in chaos. I think he'll have successful moments. I think he'll maybe drop Paddy. But I think Paddy ultimately can back him against the cage. And just as we spoke about, whether it's a trip or whether he lands some ground and pound or he has got Justin Gaethje against the cage and he's landing shots and then gets the back, or from that, I think that's how he gets the submission. Let's hear it.
Right. I'm going to go with Paddy Pimblett. Knockout. Round two. Round two KO. You've heard it here first. But I wouldn't be surprised if it could happen the other way. You know, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I could.
I'm going with round two, Paddy.
I could. But fingers crossed. Hopefully there is. Even though it's an interim, it's still a UFC title. Hopefully there's a UFC title coming back to your city of Liverpool, my friend.
I'd love it if he done it and he'd done like a little open top bus, like Liverpool do with like the Champions League and that. He just like that with his the UFC belt. I think that would be sick. But also, I want to say, Dan Hooker best not come to the Vegas. Do you know if there's any KC City kickboxing fighters on there?
I don't think so, but Dan Hooker's fighting the week after, isn't he?
Oh, is he? Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
No, because I seen Paddy saying this.
Isn't he? I think so, yeah, because the Sydney card's the week after, so 99% sure that's him and Benoit Saint Denis.
Yeah.
But see that stuff there, like that. People, the Yanks, the Americans, they're giving Paddy shit, but to me, they just don't understand the British humour. Dan Hooker's mum is probably a lovely woman. Paddy, I'm nearly sure I heard him say that himself. He, it's not a dig at Dan Hooker's mum by saying that, he couldn't grapple a rapist off his ma or whatever else. But they bring up Paddy's mate who committed suicide. Like, what is the crack with it?
Yeah. No, it's bad. Do you see what Paddy said? Like, if Dan Hooker's turns up this weekend, he's gonna get jumped by 50 scousers, and to be fair, he fucking probably will do, bro.
He probably will. I would say it's on site with them too, because like I like Dan Hooker. This has tarnished his name a bit for me. I do think it's a bit of a misunderstanding. But
if Paddy lost, is that where you'd go next fight?
Oh, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
It has to, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's kind of similar to like when Yair Rodriguez and Diego Lopez was like, they should have thought after they were, there's so much shit talking. Sometimes fights present themselves. Dan Hooker and Paddy Pimblett, if Paddy get beat, they might not have went that way, but sometimes fights present themselves and you have to capitalise on them. And, this is one that the UFC, but it's like, this goes deep. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know for a fact Paddy is going to have a raging burning inside him.
Of like a second Ilia Topuria, isn't it? It's made that like, okay, if we don't get Ilia Topuria, well, guess what? We want Dan Hooker now. Do you know what I mean? Like, so.
But fingers crossed, we don't have to go down that route. Fingers crossed, he does get the job done on Saturday. Will you be watching it live this weekend, Sidekick?
Hopefully, brother. We need to sort a few things out with the house and that. But hopefully we'll be able to get it on.
Fingers crossed. Well, pleasure as always. Thank you very much for coming on.
Brandon, thanks for having me on, brother.
There we have it. That was Sidekick. Pleasure as always to be joined by him. And if you heard my pick there, I'm going for a round 3 rear naked choke, Paddy Pimblett. Sidekick is going with a round 2 knockout for Paddy Pimblett. The title might be coming back to Liverpool, guys. What a sight that would be. That would be incredible. Especially, I'm actually going over to the Liverpool quarterback game just the week after next. So, I don't know. We might be doing a parade round Anfield with the belt if he wins it. That would be sick to be there for that. That would be really, really cool. So, yeah, fingers crossed Paddy Pimblett gets the job done. This is a great main event to be starting the new year and this whole Paramount Plus era with. And I don't think we're going to be disappointed. I think this is going to be a smashing fight. Now, the co-main event doesn't look quite as good as what it did. Women's MMA, I'm not a big fan. Don't get me wrong, there's some brilliant fighters, and every single one of them would beat the shit out of me. I'm not one of these fucking idiots that think just because they're small and they're women that you can beat them in a fight. That's crazy talk. All the women, even the flyweights, the strawweights, all of them would beat the shit out of me. I know that, but their fights can be quite boring at times. One I was really, really looking forward to, one I was so excited for, was Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes, and that has been cancelled because Kayla Harrison has picked up a neck injury. Now, in terms of recovery for this, I would love to see this fight at the White House. I spoke before in this podcast as well about how I was surprised when they made this fight that they weren't saving it for the White House. I thought they would have. Kayla Harrison is a proper role model for American females, a mother, a fighter. she is one of a kind. She's incredible and an Olympic gold medalist, UFC champion, PFL/Bellator champion. She's got all the accolades and is a mother at the same time. So I don't know how she does it. I really do take my hat off to her. Fair play to her. But she picked up a neck injury just 1 week out from the fight, or like 10 days out from the fight, which is very, very unfortunate. They are looking at making this fight happen on the White House. That would be a pretty quick recovery. From listening to sort of experts speak about it, it is possible, but they are asking a lot of Kayla Harrison to be back for the White House card. She probably won't get as big a camp as what she would want. She has just done a camp, but she's going to be out of shape. She's not going to be able to train for a good few months anyway, so I don't know. Fingers crossed they do make it in the White House card, but it is asking a lot of Kayla Harrison. So the new main event we have is Sean O'Malley against Song Yadong. That has been bumped up to co-main event. Sorry, it's not the new main event, it's the new co-main event. Looking at this fight, Sean O'Malley needs a win. Sean O'Malley really needs a win. He has lost a few fights on the bounce. To me, this is like a long sniper in Sean O'Malley against like a real tight boxer with heavy hands. He's got a very tight guard, does Song Yadong. Both strikers, none of them are too fussed in grappling. They've got, I've got the stats here. They land an average of sub 0.6 takedowns per fight. That's not a lot, definitely not a lot. So I think this one will play out on the feet, which does suit Sean O'Malley. Merab Dvalishvili, of course, beat Sean O'Malley in his last two fights, and he dominated him. In the first one, he definitely dominated him. Sean O'Malley looked very, very flat. In the second one, he subs him in the second round. I don't think Sean O'Malley is going to have to worry about that in this fight. This is a nice matchup for him in Song Yadong. I'm just pulling their tabloids up here just for handiness, because I do have a head like a sieve. Marlon Vera and beat twice by Merab Dvalishvili. I was trying to think who he fought before Merab. So this is an interesting one because Song Yadong has looked really, really good at times. He's got a great mentor and coach in Uriah Faber, but I do fear that he's kind of got stuck at this level. He hasn't shown much improvement. He hasn't changed his style much since he was like a raging prospect coming through the bantamweight division. He is exciting, but technically he hasn't really improved much, and I think that will affect him in this fight, because I think Sean O'Malley is a more technical striker. I think Sean O'Malley will be able to find a shot. Now, I've kind of envisioned this fight. I've envisioned it playing out. Song Yadong likes a lot of heavy pressure. He sort of walks forward, as I said, very tight guard, stands very upright, very tight guard. And he has got heavy hands. If he catches Sean O'Malley, he could do damage. But I think Sean O'Malley is going to be too rangy. I think Sean O'Malley is going to be a sniper, and he's going to catch Song Yadong with a very similar shot to the one that he landed against Aljamain Sterling. There's no one better in this sport. Well, there is people up there, but Sean O'Malley, in terms of just finding that one shot, just timing it, perfect. You've seen comparisons to like Conor McGregor when he knocked out Aldo. Sean O'Malley's knockout against Aljo was very, very similar. So I think he could catch Song Yadong coming in. Song Yadong, very, very heavy forward pressure. That could be like a head-on collision if Sean O'Malley just lands one on his chin. I think that's what's going to happen. Sean O'Malley also has a nasty knee, which he caught Marlon Vera with. Who knows, that could... He could catch Song Yadong with that as he comes through the middle as well. But that's my prediction for this one. I'm going to go for a round 2 knockout for Sean O'Malley. And after this, I would like to see Sean O'Malley. We'll speak about Umar Nurmagomedov in a minute. But if Umar beats Davison Figueiredo, that's the fight to make. I would like to see Umar against Sean O'Malley, or Umar fights for the title. I don't want to see Sean O'Malley in another title shot. But then again... Sean O'Malley didn't deserve the second title shot against Merab. I think that was a bit of favouritism. He got that based on his name, and if he beats Song Yadong, beating Song Yadong in its own right isn't enough to get a title shot. But because Peter Yan now holds the title, they have that very controversial first fight, which people argue about all the time who actually won it. Sean O'Malley won it based off the judges, but opinion is widely in the media and with fans that he lost that fight. People think that Peter Yan got robbed in that fight. I did have Sean O'Malley winning that one, to be honest with you. It was very, very tight. Could have went either way. It wasn't a robbery either way. I think it was one of them ones where, you know, if you give it to Peter Yan, you're right. If you give it to Sean O'Malley, you can also be right. Very, very tight fight. But the fact that Sean O'Malley has had that fight against Peter Yan, that could lead his path back to the title if he beats Song Yadong. There was no one happier, apart from Peter Yan himself. There wasn't too many people happier about that performance and that win that Peter Yan had against Murat than Sean O'Malley, because it really opens up the division for him again. It opens up a hell of a lot of opportunities, and he might be able to get his hands back on that bantamweight title as well. Moving on down the card, we've got Derek Lewis taking on Waldo Cortez Acosta, the Black Beast against Salsa Boy. Waldo Cortez Acosta is having his 6th fight in 10 months. You heard that right. I'm just going to repeat that. Listen carefully. 6 fights in 10 months. That is crazy, crazy numbers. Last time out, he beat Shamil Gaziev in like extremely late notice. I think I was in Shanghai. I think he stepped in literally like 1 or 2 days before the fight. He's only the second man to beat Shamil Gaziev, knocked him out in the first round. Before that, he had the fight against Delija, which I don't know about that fight against Delija. Delija is Tom Aspinall's teammate, if you didn't know. And so this year's crazy the way this played out. So the eye poke controversy with Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane happened, and then the following week there was an Apex card. Waldo Cortez Acosta takes on Tom Aspinall's teammate Delija. Delija eye pokes Waldo Cortez Acosta and then finishes him. And then the judges and the referees cage side looked back at the footage, noticed there was an eye poke that compromised Waldo Cortez Acosta. After it was longer than 5 minutes, this break, Delija is celebrating. His team's round him. He's down on his knees. Can't remember if he was in tears, but he was on his knees, visibly celebrating, very, very happy, as you would be winning another fight. This goes on for about 5 or 6 minutes. They're reviewing the footage, find out that Waldo Cortez Acosta was compromised because of an eye poke. And what they do, this isn't in the rules of MMA. They shouldn't have done this. They restarted the fight. To me, Delija was already checked out of that fight. He was already celebrating. He thought he had the job done. To then switch your mindset, they have to go back in there and fight. What that led to was Waldo Cortez Acosta knocking out Delija, which I think was a bit of bullshit. I don't think they should have restarted the fight. Yes, it was an eye poke. But the referee didn't see it at the time. They should not have restarted that fight after Delija thinking he had won it. It should have been a no contest at the very best for Waldo Cortez Acosta. Cortez Acosta then, of course, because, think about the timing of that. The fact that Tom Aspinall was taking so much shit online for faking his way out due to an eye poke just the week before. His teammate then eye pokes Waldo Cortez Acosta, and Cortez Acosta fights on and knocks him out. So of course you would do it yourself if you're in Waldo Cortez Acosta's shoes. After the fight, he's on the mic and he says, "I want Tom Aspinall. I'm not a bitch. I didn't sit down whenever my eye got poked. I fought on. No eye pokes are equal." So, that is the angle you're going to take over Waldo Cortez Acosta, but we all know that it's not actually true because, the difference in eye pokes there is Tom Aspinall still can't see properly. Waldo Cortez Acosta was able to fight. He was actually considering taking a fight in December as well, a month after. There was nothing wrong with his eyes. He was dead on. He could fight on. So that's the difference there. He's fighting Derek Lewis. It's a step up in competition compared to his last 2 fights, but he did get beat by Sergey Pavlovich, who definitely is the best fighter that he's been in there with. So he got beat by Sergey Pavlovich, and then he just had the 2 fights I spoke about, Shamil Gaziev and Delija. He's now fighting Derek Lewis, which again is a step up. Derek Lewis, he's coming off a great win against Taliesin Teixeira. I think he's 6'7" or something crazy. Trains with Alex Perez. So that was a really good win. He ran up to him and kneed him. How quick into the fight was that? It was the first round, literally seconds in. I just want to get the exact numbers for you here. The fight starts in like Ben Askren, Jorge Masvidal kind of style, but not quite as fast. 35 seconds, just the 30 seconds after Jorge Masvidal on it. I don't think we'll ever see a quicker knockout than that. 35 seconds it took Derek Lewis to knock out Taliesin Teixeira. That was an incredible knockout. He's now on a 2-fight win streak after losing to Jilton Almeida, and it kind of looked like his career was going a bit downhill. But he's back in there. This is a really good opportunity for him because Salsa Boy, Waldo Cortez Acosta, he made a lot of noise last year, gained a lot of traction within the media, within the fans and the sport. So if Derek Lewis can sort of stop that run, it's a good look for him. It is a good look. It's a very good win for him. What way do I see this one going? In terms of styles, the most similar, not that Pavlovich is similar to Derek Lewis, but that sort of swinging overhands and things like this here, that we seen Pavlovich do that against Waldo Cortez Acosta, and Cortez Acosta had a difficult time dealing with it. He did win one round, but there was many a time in there that he was very, very hurt, and it looked like Pavlovich might have been able to finish him. So looking at that fight, I think Derek Lewis is going to cause a big, big problem for Waldo Cortez Acosta here. Cortez Acosta stands very upright, and that doesn't really suit when you're fighting a style like Derek Lewis, because Derek Lewis is going to swing in them big overhand rights, and he's got the most knockouts in the UFC for a reason. He's got fucking power in his hands, and I think if he catches Waldo Cortez Acosta as he's standing upright, as he backs off upright with his head in the air, that's when I see Derek Lewis really doing the damage. I think he lands one on him in round one. I'm not saying that because there's a big difference in there's not a big difference in quality between these two, but I just think it's heavyweight fighting. It's Derek Lewis. I think he lands it in round one, and I don't know if Waldo Cortez Acosta can take a clean punch off Derek Lewis. I really don't, and that's how I see that one going. So I'm going to say round one KO for Derek Lewis. The Black Beast will be on a 3-fight win streak. To be fair, for the heavyweight division, it nearly is better for Waldo Cortez Acosta to win here, because I speak about it all the time. Cortez Acosta, looking at Derek Lewis's record, 29-12, that's not a record that's going to really threaten Tom Aspinall. He's not a fighter that's really going to threaten Tom Aspinall. If Waldo Cortez Acosta, who's 16-2, only 2 defeats, one of them to Sergey Pavlovich, who's his other defeat to? De Lima as well. Them's not bad losses. Them's losses against good heavyweights, especially Sergey Pavlovich as well. So for Waldo Cortez Acosta, it would be, for the heavyweight division, it would be better if Salsa Boy could win this, because it gives Tom Aspinall another potential opponent, especially with the backstory. The way Tom Aspinall is going to be looking at it is this is a chance to right the wrong of his gym. Elijah got beat by this guy in very controversial fashion due to an eye poke. Waldo Cortez Acosta was talking shit after it. The story makes sense. I would like to see him win one more potentially after, if he does beat Derek Lewis. I would like to see him win one more, but who knows with the way the heavyweight division is, they could just give him that fight. But he likes staying active as well. That's the other thing. He had 5 fights last year. If he does the same this year, or if he's looking to do the same, he'll definitely get another fight in before the title fight. But he's got a very, very, very difficult opponent in Derek Lewis standing in his way. So looking forward to that one. That one definitely ain't going the distance. I did say that about Waldo Cortez Acosta and Sergey Pavlovich at the time. I said this fight, 1.5 rounds under 100% is, cash it in, put your house on it, and it never happened. So hopefully no one did put their house on it, because they would have been homeless after that, which wouldn't have been good. Looking at the Natalia Silva against Rose Namajunas. Natalia Silva is on a 13-fight win streak. She actually has a really weird record, because she was 6-5 and then has just won 13 fights in a row. Someone at 6-5 at that stage of their career, 11 fights in, you've only won one more fight than what you've lost. That's not a great record. It's not a great look. She wasn't even in the UFC yet, so you have to wonder about the caliber of opposition that she was fighting outside of the UFC. Women's MMA, some of the opponents, it's very, very difficult to get fights against high-level opponents, because the UFC snaps them up very quickly. So if you're outside of the UFC, the talent pool doesn't tend to be as good as what it would be for the men's in the regional scene. And she was 6-5 in that scene. And then goes on this 13-fight win streak, wins a few fights, gets signed to the UFC, and has just looked like a completely different fighter. She's looking like a title contender. She's fighting a former champion in Rose. This is her biggest fight by far. Well, I suppose she has just beat a former champion in Alexa Grasso, but Rose Namajunas has a bit more pedigree to her name than Alexa Grasso, so this definitely will be her biggest win yet if she does manage to get it done. I was speaking about that last fight going no longer than 1 round. This fight is going to go 3 rounds. I don't see it going any other way. Both of them very decision heavy. Women's MMA, they probably won't have the power to really do a lot of damage on the feet to each other. What I will say is that Rose Namajunas fights at a very slow pace. We've seen her fight. I can't even remember what fight it was, but she had literally one of the worst fights in MMA history. One of the most boring fights in MMA history. She can be quite tentative on the feet. A lot of the time her opponent will then slow herself down to that level. I think Natalia Silva will do that. Natalia Silva usually throws, I think it's like four strikes. What's that stat about Natalia Silva? Four significant strikes per minute or something like this. I'm going to have to find it here. 2 seconds. Natalia Silva, 5 significant strikes per minute. Lands per minute. That's quite a lot. Like, if you compare that to Rose Namajunas, who lands 3.6, you know, like, she is quite an active fighter on the feet, but I think Rose's pace is going to bring that down. I think this is going to be a boring fight at a very slow pace. I don't think there'll be too much happening here, to be honest. None of them really like throwing in takedowns. If any of them do, Rose Namajunas probably is a wee bit more well-rounded. She might like it on the ground. Natalia Silva can do a bit of grappling as well. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what way this works. Just looking at Natalia Silva's takedown defense, 92%. That is very, very impressive. Rose Namajunas' takedown accuracy, 50%. Rose will be doing well to take Natalia Silva down here. This is why I see them cancelling each other out. Rose won't be able to get a takedown. It's going to end up on the feet. Rose is going to fight at a slow pace, and Natalia Silva is going to match that pace. I think her lack of experience maybe at this level might play a factor. The night might play a factor to her. She hasn't fought on, this is a huge card. This is the first of an era, as I've said. She's on the main card. In front of fights like Umar Nurmagomedov, Davison Figueiredo. There's a lot of pressure. I think she will let Rose dictate the pace, and that's going to be a slow pace. I do think she'll get the job done, though. I think Natalia Silva just edges it out and gets a decision win in this one. Now, Arnold Allen against Gene Silva. Whoa, what a fight this is. I've been buzzing for this one ever since it was announced. I don't even have any notes, so I'm just going to pull out the Tapologies just to remind myself. Now, I was speaking to someone earlier, and I was like, we haven't seen Arnold Allen in the octagon in ages, so long. And then I remembered I seen Arnold Allen's last fight, and I couldn't remember if it was UFC London in March last year or if it was at UFC 304, I want to say, in Manchester. I was at both of them, which is why I could not remember for the life of me which one it was at. I then figured out that it was in Manchester. So he fought Giga Chikadze, UFC 304 in July 2024. July 2024, that's a year and a half out of the octagon. It was due to injury, and he's coming back and fighting a killer like Gene Silva. Gene Silva lost a wee bit of aura, as did all of the fighting nerds whenever he lost to Diego Lopez, but he's still Gene fucking Silva. He's still the guy that submitted Bryce Mitchell last year, which is going to be something I'm going to talk about in a minute, because I think that's how he gets this fight done, or I think that is his path to victory here. In terms for Arnold Allen, fair play to him for taking this fight. I would have been looking at tune-up before. He beat Giga Chikadze, takes 18 months, maybe slightly longer actually, out of the octagon, and he comes back to fight Gene Silva. That loss Gene Silva had against Diego Lopez, I don't put too much weight in it, because yes, it showed Gene Silva can be beat, but that fight got a little bit chaotic. I think Gene Silva's a little bit retarded. Let's not beat around the bush. And I think that got the better of him. I think the chaoticness of that fight, he wasn't able to manage it. He's definitely not the full shilling, so, and I think that did that. I think that did play a factor. I think a lack of fight IQ as part of the reason why. They were throwing spinning elbows. It was literally like throwing spinning elbows until someone dropped, and it just so happened that Gene Silva was the fighter who was dropped, and he ended up losing. But what a fight that was. That was an incredible fight. Really, really high pace, as always, from Gene Silva. Arnold Allen in this one, his path to victory is going to be boxing. He needs to try and keep this on the feet, keep it boxing. He needs to watch the kicking of Gene Silva as well. Gene Silva has some really, really, really good kicking. But what Arnold Allen needs to do is try and back Gene Silva up against the cage and get them hands going, land his punches and flurries. Because Gene Silva is very elusive. He moves very, very fast. He can throw kicks from awkward places. He's got very good dexterity in his legs, very, very flexible. And that's what Arnold Allen needs to watch for. He needs to try and close the gap without getting hit. Manage that distance, get inside, get in the pocket, back Gene Silva against the cage. Give Gene Silva nowhere to go. Make sure he can't use his footwork and start landing into the body upstairs. He just needs to watch for a spinning elbow himself. That's all I'm saying. I've got this vision of Arnold Allen really backing Gene Silva up. And the best time to throw a spinning elbow is when you're actually on the back foot. When your opponent is coming on to you, that's the best time to throw a spinning elbow, because you use their momentum to, they're coming on to it, and you throw the elbow and try and get out of the way. Wouldn't surprise me if Gene Silva tries that. He tried it against Diego Lopez, caught Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez then caught him with the same strike, a spinning elbow as well. So Gene Silva's the type of guy that would want to prove everyone wrong and knock Arnold Allen out with a spinning elbow. That's not how I see this going, but I think Gene Silva can use his grappling here. We've seen Gene Silva out-grapple and submit Bryce Mitchell, who has made a career off his grappling abilities. So, Gene Silva is not to be messed with on the ground. I think he might be able to get a takedown. I just want to look at the actual stats for Arnold Allen's takedown defense. I feel like it's ages since I watched Arnold Allen fight. Takedown defense, 75%. That's good. Gene Silva only shoots 0.5 takedowns per fight. That's crazy. I thought it would have been more. I do think he will shoot more here. I do think he will. That's how I see that's going. I think he knows he'll be able to nullify Arnold Allen via his grappling. And I'm going to go for a Gene Silva submission in round 3, which kills me to say because I fucking love Arnold Allen, almighty Arnold Allen. I just think this is a crazy fight to take after taking 18 months out of the octagon. I love the fact he's doing it. The fight fan in me loves it, but as an Arnold Allen fan, I'm like, take an easier fight. Take one more easier fight to get back into the way of it, get back and blow them lights. He's now opening up a pay-per-view, the first pay-per-view of 2026, the first pay-per-view of this Paramount era. Is a huge slot to be in, a huge opportunity for him to really enter himself. No one's been talking about Arnold Allen over the past year because he was out for so long. This is an opportunity to really cement himself back in them title contention talks. So you've seen Diego Lopez got a title fight off the back of beating Gene Silva. So if Arnold Allen can beat Gene Silva, he'll not be too far away, in my opinion. Very, very interesting. That is the main card for UFC 324. We are going to go a little bit deeper here. I'm not going to do full deep dives into the rest of these fights, but we've got Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Davison Figueiredo. What is this doing on the prelims? Natalia Silva and Rose Namajunas is fighting ahead of Umar Nurmagomedov and Davison Figueiredo. That is a bit of DEI. That is a bit of equality matching or fucking virtue signaling, whatever you want to call it. Yes, Umar Nurmagomedov can be a born fighter. He actually likes to strike. He gets sort of tainted with this Dagestani wrestler brush, which of course he is a Dagestani wrestler, but he's very, very, very good on the fight or on the feet. Very, very good. Davison Figueiredo won't let him hold him down. Davison Figueiredo is a huge underdog here, plus 800. Whoa, the odds on this one is crazy. Figgy, of course, since moving the bantamweight, he sort of it's been all right for him. He's picked up losses when it mattered, but he's also picked up some good wins as well against the likes of Cody Garbrandt. Rob Font was his first fight at bantamweight. Yeah, got beat by Moreno and then beats Rob Font, beats Cody Garbrandt, beats Marlon Vera, gets beat by Peter Yan, beats Corey Sandhagen, and beats Montel Jackson in his last fight. Montel Jackson, again, very, very good fighter, 15-3. 15-2 at the time that Davison Figueiredo beat him. Had a lot of hype coming through the ranks as well, and Davison Figueiredo was able to put a stop to that. So That's not a bad underdog pick. Now I'm just seeing the huge odds that Davison Figueiredo is. I might like that one. Going with my head, you have to go with Umar Nurmagomedov. You know, he gave Merab a very, very good fight. Merab's, I was going to say his toughest fight yet. Apart from Peter Yan, Merab at this time looked unstoppable. And Umar Nurmagomedov, he beat him in the first 2 rounds, just didn't do enough in the latter 3 rounds to get the nod on that night. But he looked very, very good. So, Davison Figueiredo, I'm going to throw him in my bet, but I don't think he will win. Now, looking down the card, Atiba Gutierrez, the Manchester top team man, the mini Francis Ngannou, as he's been called, he is fighting Andre Pulyev, which, again, is a great fight. This is a big step up for Atiba Gutierrez. He has looked scary. They're really pushing him through the ranks. He's middleweight. When I interviewed Will Fleury a few weeks ago, he was actually out training with Atiba, and he said that Atiba was bigger than him. Like, size-wise, height-wise, looked taller than him. Atiba Gutierrez is fighting at middleweight. Will Fleury beat Martin Baddy just a week after at heavyweight. So think about the size that Atiba Gutierrez is. That weight cut wouldn't be a nice one. He is built like a brick shithouse. He is absolutely shredded. Looks like a Greek god in there. And I think he's a scary, scary prospect. A really scary prospect. He was quite active last year as well. 3 fights last year. And signed on the Contender Series the year before. So a perfect career so far, but this is a huge step up for him. Huge step up. Tristan Vines in his last fight, but Andre Pulyev is no slouch. Andre Pulyev is a very, very good fighter. I think we're in for a treat. Andre Pulyev, Christian Leroy Duncan beat him, that's right, and then he beat Nick Klein. That was a very, very, very good performance against Nick Klein. And I thought he had more UFC fights than 2. There we are. I've watched his highlights so many times, and I see him popping up. So I thought he had more UFC fights than 2, but he's only a 2 plus the Contender Series. Very good fighter. He is not to be fucked with, and Atiba Gutierrez, this is a big step up for him. It's a decent step up. It's not a huge step up. It's one that I think he'll be able to cope with. I don't think they've pushed him too fast or nothing like that. But I do think he gets the knockout again, to be honest with you. He's got this power. You know, you're looking at his UFC fights and they all finish in round 1, all KOs. 2 of them like 1 minute 41 and 1 minute 10 in the round 1. And then Contender Series fight round 2. Before that, round 1. Got beaten a split decision, then his debut went to a decision, his pro debut. You know, he's still very green to the sport. That is something I will say. You know, he's only had 10 fights. He only made his pro debut in 2021, so he's only been a pro for 5 years, and he now finds himself in this huge, huge fight. So I do think Atiba Gutierrez will get that one done, but keep an eye out for him. That is going to be an incredible fight. Now, moving on to the light heavyweights, Nikita Krylov takes on Modestas Bukauskas, which is, again, going to be a great fight. More UK names here in Modestas. Both Modestas and Atiba Gutierrez, of course, not born in the UK, but both train in their respective gyms in the UK. Nikita Krylov hasn't been too great as of late. He beat Ryan Spann in 2023. That's right, he took ages out. Dominic Reyes beats him. And, you know what, Dominic Reyes beat him, and it was a very, very good win. But then Dominic Reyes got beat in the fight after by Carlos Ulberg. He got knocked out, and it makes you think where in his career is Nikita Krylov. I think he's at the end of it. Someone that's not at the end of their career is Modestas Bukauskas. I always get his name wrong. That's why he just gets Modestas. Of course, he trains in with Tom Aspinall. 4-fight win streak. Retired Paul Craig with some vicious ground and pound in his last fight, and I don't see Modestas getting beat here. I think Modestas is on a run, which might see it conclude in a title fight for him. I think he's looking very, very good for a title fight. He's just changed his career around. He's 5 losses, 6 losses on the record, but this last while he just looks like a completely different fighter. Is able to get finishes, is able to get submissions, is able to get, he's able to get finishes with his hands. You can see the work he's been putting in with Tom Aspinall, Andy Aspinall, all the guys in that gym, you can see it's paying dividends to Modestas. So I think he's going to win this one against Nikita Krylov. I think that's quite an obvious pick. He's a slight favourite, only a slight favourite. That's maybe a good wee odds booster. I don't see what Nikita Krylov has that is going to trouble Modestas too much. I actually think Modestas will finish him, to be honest with you. Charles Johnson, Alex Perez, another great fight. Michael Johnson, Alexander Hernandez. Josh Hoka, I'm looking forward to seeing him fight. He made his debut last time round. Of course, got the win. Yep, Contender Series and then the debut. Round 2 finish in the Contender Series. Round 1 finish. And his debut is now 7-0. Looking good in the heavyweight division. A division you can climb the ranks in very, very quickly. He's cutting promos slightly on the cringe side, if I do say so myself. Very Chael Sonnen style. Chael Sonnen was not cringe. Chael Sonnen was the man, but all these guys copying him. I don't know. It is a wee bit cringy, but I suppose it's something different. It gets people like me talking about him. It gets the fans talking about him. Ricky Tertius taking on Cameron Smotherman and Ty Miller and Adam Fugit. Yeah, some banging fights here. Banging fights. I'm glad the UFC is back. I'll be watching it live. I will be doing live updates of the fights on my Instagram page. So please go and follow. Go and check that out. I hope you are all having a wonderful start to your new year. And thanks very much for tuning in to another episode of Brandon Talks Fighting. As I said at the start, we're going to be bringing these episodes to you every Monday without fail. So please stay tuned. And also thank you very much to MMASideKick for joining me this week as well. Go and check his page out at MMASideKick. The podcast he does with all the lads is the 4 Ounce Podcast. So also go and check that out. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one.